Hey, good morning, friends. It's Joe. Welcome to my scripture reflection for Thursday, November the 9th. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday morning. Today is the dedication in the Christian churches of the Lateran Basilica, and that is a basilica in Rome, which is the actual, from what I understand, the actual church that is the primary seat, if you will, in Rome for the bishop and the pope. And it was established that way. Now, these churches all have their charm, don't they? So I always say to myself, well, every church should be a holy place, and every one of them matters. And in addition to that, God's world is his church, if you will, extends beyond the walls of the actual buildings. So, yes, we should maybe take a look at the history and celebrate it and have reverence for these buildings, but it should go beyond that. It should go to the point where we are having reverence and a walk of faith in every area of the world that we walk because it's all God's altar, God's place. So, just a little bit of a prelude to what we're going to talk about today and a little bit of a history lesson, at least from somebody who's not a big history buff, at least, on the Lateran Basilica and the celebration today. So, with that, I will ask you to quiet your minds and hearts as we prepare to hear today's gospel, which is from St. John, chapter 2, verses 13 to 22. Since the Passover of the Jews was near, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. He found in the temple area those who sold oxen, sheep, and doves, as well as the money changers seated there. He made a whip out of cords and drove them all out of the temple area with the sheep and the oxen, and spilled the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. And to those who sold doves, he said, "Take these out of here and stop making my Father's house a marketplace." His disciples recalled the words of Scripture, "Zeal for your house will consume me." At this, the Jews answered and said to him, "What sign can you show us for doing this?" Jesus answered and said to them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." The Jews said, "This temple has been under construction for 46 years, and you will raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking about the temple of his body. Therefore, when he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they came to believe the scripture and the word Jesus had spoken. One of the beauties of the scriptures is that you can take it and interpret it in many different ways. And no one way is the only way to look at a particular scripture verse. Now, those of us who have a particular slant in one direction will interpret it in that direction. And I say that to you in advance of my interpreting this scripture passage today. But there's some things that cannot be denied. So Jesus' actions today are kind of famous, if you will, because it's one of the few times he really demonstrates his anger. His anger comes out and it is taken out in a physical action as he makes a whip of cords and drives out these people out of the church. Now, if you look closely, it is not just the money changers that has Jesus in this escalation of anger. It is the sale and exploitation of the animals that are brought in. I mean, after all, my friends, let's be honest. If Jesus was to turn over money tables in churches, well, they'd be falling like dominoes every single day. It's not just that brought his anger to this point. It was the exploitation of God's creation, which includes animals as well. His anger reaches a peak when he says, "Take these doves out of here and do not make my Father's house a marketplace." That's where his anger reaches the peak. So, what is the message for us? The message for us is that exploitation of animals happens every single day. And yeah, you might be saying, okay, here the guy goes again. This is his big message. And yes, it is. And I'm not going to apologize for it. But it's certainly something to consider, especially in light of this gospel, when you see the interpretation that really cannot be questioned too far. We need to look at how animals are exploited and how we are playing a part of that in our life. They're exploited all over to a point where it is really sad and lacks compassion and commitment amongst us, the humans, who should have dominion and care over the animals that we share this planet with. There are animals that are used for food and clothing. There are animals that are used for entertainment. That are animals that are used in testing in labs, etc. All of which are well overexploited beyond the need that we of humans may require of them, way beyond. So, my friends, I announce to you today that I am going to really put forth an effort towards my Compassion and Commitment Academy. I have a special page here on Facebook. You could find it off my page. I'd ask you to go and like it. And I'm not going to be that in your face person, but I am going to bring out some facts. Some facts that maybe will have you think a little bit more about exploiting animals less and living a more compassionate and committed life to God's creation of all species. If you're so willing to take this journey with me, tell me right now. I'd love to have you along. You're going to see more information coming out from me in the future. But if you want to be one of the first to say, yeah, Joe, I'll at least listen to you, I'll come on the journey, I'm not asking for anything beyond that, then let me know and I'd be pleased to say, yes, you're on this journey with me. You could do it in the comments or you could do it in a message to me privately, however you choose. But more than anything else, at least stop and give some consideration to not as much my words today, but Jesus' words and how he exercised them and when he made his most powerful point. Well, my friends, that's my message for you on this Thursday morning. As always, I hope it was helpful. I always welcome your comments and your thoughts, and I always appreciate you being here with me. Today, we're going to take a moment or two of silent reflection, and that's going to be our prayer. And I'm going to ask you just to pray and meditate over peace for this world. Well, my friends, thank you for those couple moments of prayer for peace and contributing towards what we really need in this world, which is peace for all creation. I wish you all a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you back here on Sunday. Take care, everyone.